let's begin here. Today I'm going to talk about how to read an X-ray as a rotating medical student. This is something, if you want to pursue orthopedics, that you definitely want to know how to do going into your audition rotations. And so far along the way, I've seen a couple rotating students that haven't had the ability to do that, and you definitely don't want to be that person. So this is kind of targeted towards third and fourth year students. Third years definitely interested in ortho. Fourth years either about to go on auditions or current auditions. So let's get into it. So really, you want to have a mantra that you say every single time you read an X-ray. You're too early on in your training to just say this is this kind of fracture. Or, I think we should do this. You want to read it the same way every time without fail. And this is what you want to say. This is your mantra. Here we have however many number of views, so 2 views, the type of view, AP and lateral, AP cross-table lateral, oblique lateral, whatever it is, of the right and left structure, so whether it's the shoulder, the knee, the hip, whatever, in a skeletal or immature or mature individual, demonstrating. So let me read that a little bit more fluently. It should read, and I'll get to a little bit of examples a little bit further along, something like this. Here we have 2 views, an AP and a lateral, of the right shoulder in a skeletally mature individual, demonstrating what? And then you want to describe what you see. So this is the mantra that you want to have down. This is going to be for every single X-ray that you read, no matter what. And basically they're going to put some images up on the screen and ask you to read them. And right on looking at it, you should see, okay, how many views do I have? What kind of views are they? What am I looking at? What structure? What bone? And are there open growth plates? Is this a skeletally mature or immature individual? So then let's go on to how you describe fractures. And there's a lot of different ways to describe a fracture. So it also depends on which bone is fractured. So these are general considerations when reading an X-ray. You don't need to hit on every single one of these when reading an X-ray. You want to hit what's pertinent to that fracture pattern. So in terms of type of fracture, is it transverse, spiral, comminuted, oblique? Is it intra or extra-articular? Is there angulation? Is there displacement? Is the fracture shortened? Is there any rotation? And is the fracture stable or unstable? Now again, this is important to note that it's going to be fracture dependent. You don't want to mention each one just to check a box. It's not how you read it. You want to, and it comes with learning more orthopedics. You want to add these as they are pertinent. And then you'll learn to naturally work these into your read, and you're going to get better with practice. Like early on, you're going to stink. You'll get better. And something someone told me in the past that I found super important, you want to read an X-ray like you're an intern and you're calling your attending at 3 in the morning to describe what came into the ED. So you want to be very succinct, and you want to tell that attending exactly what they need to know. So let's move on here I'll give you an example of a quick read here. And I just want to preference, I'm a medical student, I'm not an orthopedist, but I've chosen some more simpler ones so that I can definitely get it right to give you an idea of how it goes. So I would read this like this. Here we have 2 views, an AP of the right hip and a cross-table lateral of the right hip in a skeletally mature individual, demonstrating an unstable intertrochanteric fracture with a reverse obliquity pattern, period. So I'm not going to go into, what makes things unstable or unstable. That's a different level here. I'm, again, just teaching how to read X-rays. I'm not teaching intertrochanteric fractures today. So that was your thing. I touched on, how many views are they? What are the views? What is the structure? And what is the fracture pattern? And I mentioned, it's an unstable fracture, being that it's a reverse obliquity pattern. So those are things that you're going to come to know with time as you study more orthopedics. But that was just a quick read of how a read should flow. And I have another one here. Here we have 2 views, an AP and a lateral of the left wrist in a skeletally mature individual, demonstrating an extra-articular distal radius fracture with dorsal angulation. So touch on the pertinent things, are they skeletally mature and immature? There's some angulation here dorsally. It's extra-articular, and that covers that. That is your typical colleague fracture there. So there's a couple don'ts that you don't want to do when reading an X-ray is don't immediately jump into classifications, and definitely don't word vomit. Don't, like I said, hit on every point on things that you could say just to say things. You don't want to just be saying things. You want to read it as succinctly as possible. Again, like it is you're attending. So, for example, that hip fracture that I read, being that it's unstable, is going to kind of tell him what he needs to do for that fracture. So that's why it's important to be succinct. I think that's all I have today. Just wanted to give a quick overview of how to read an X-ray because no one really ever told me how to do it, and kind of learned as you go, and now this way it's out there. So thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Easy enough. Press screen, edit scene. So something I can do is 10 minutes on pizza or shit fractures, which is somewhere on